them. But I think all the seats are taken. Okay, I'm now going to call to order the April 30th, 2019 regular meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Here.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Here.
Councilman McPartlin.
Here.
Councilwoman Weber.
Here.
Supervisor Syed.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Councilman McPartlin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and before we get into the meat and potatoes of our meeting today, we are going to do our ceremonial resolutions. We're going to begin with, let me pull it up here, Resolution 2019-133, recognizing the boys swim team. So Councilwoman McGraw is going to take it away from here.
Thank you, Supervisor. Scott? You got it? Everyone can come on up.
Right down.
Fill in both sides so everybody can see you. This is a pretty unique happening. We're pretty good at swimming around here. And as people who have come to this meeting know over the years, in particular, and I don't say it because I'm a mother of one, but our girls are really pretty good. But over the last few years, our boys have showed them that they could do something that the girls have never done. The girls have won sectionals and the girls have done things, but this is the New York State champion, Niskayuna. Silver Warriors. And a thing that folks don't really realize unless you're on this side of the room is swimming and diving are team sports. It seems very individualized. It seems like it's really something, yourself, you're trying to hit the wall first. My daughter used to have a poster up in her room that said, "My best friend is my biggest competitor." And I think that really sums up a lot of the people who are standing up here right now. Every one of them makes the next one better. Every one of them helps them in some way, whether they're swimming and they're in the water or they're turning cards for Scott's 500. That's this team. They all work together. And I think it really finally all came together when our new coach, Dan Tansky, stepped up and took over this team. I heard things this year about how much they loved practices, how hard he made them, but how interesting he made them. And guys, stop me if I'm wrong, but I heard this from a lot of you. And I heard it from a lot of those people in the back of the room who support this and drive this and really want to be here with them. So it is my great honor and privilege to be joined by Councilwoman Weber somewhere here to recognize this group of young men and their coach and their parents. A resolution honoring the swimmers, divers, and coaches of the 2019 Niskayuna High School Boys Varsity Swimming and Diving Team. Be it enacted that the Town Board of Niskayuna is as follows. The 2019 High School Boys Varsity Swimming and Diving Team was the 2019 New York Public High School Team Champion. In addition, the team championships, team members had individual achievements in swimming and diving. The 200 free relay champions of Victor Shingo, Mark Lipkin, Scott Ward, and Brian Liu not only won their event, but they also achieved All-American consideration and lowered the school and Section 2 records. The 200 medley relay finished second, Cameron Goodspeed, Mark Lipkin, Scott Ward. There's a name missing here. Is it Brian? It's Brian, right? Sorry, we'll fix it. A Section 2 record there as well. The it says 4,400 free relay of Victor Shingo, Mark Lipkin, Scott Ward, and Brian Liu. They finished second. The 100 backstroke, Brian Liu finished fourth. The 200 freestyle, Scott Ward finished eighth. In diving, which we are no slouches in diving in this community either, Matt Chow finished fifth, and Connor Compton finished 16th. which made Pat Smith very, very proud. I will tell you, he sends greetings from California. Whereas the 2019 Niskayuna High School boys varsity swimming and diving team won 7 out of the 12 events at the sectional meet and finished second overall with individual accomplishments of, this is a 3-page resolution. There's a lot of accomplishments here. 200 free relay team, they finished first. The 400, I'm not going to read your names anymore, guys, because we want to get out of here tonight. The 400 free relay team finished first. The 200 medley finished 5th. I am going to read those names. It was Cameron Goodspeed, Sam Ekman, Evan Boyle, and Joe Giannetti. Brian Liu finished first in the 50 and the 100 backstroke, the 200-yard freestyle relay, the 400 freestyle relay, and was named most outstanding competitor of sectionals. Mark Lipkin finished first place in the 200 freestyle, 200 free, and second in the 100 butterfly. Scott Ward finished first place in the 500 freestyle and he finished second in the 2 free. Matt Chow at sectionals finished first. Connor Compton finished third. Moving on with some more swimmers, Eli Ferret finished third in the 500 and 11th in the 200. Evan Boyle finished 11th in the 2IM and 11th in the 100 butterfly. Joe Giannetti finished 13th in the 50 free and 13th in the 100 free. Kevin Carlock finished 13th in the 50 free. Sam Ekman finished 15th in the 500 and 16th in the 100 breast. Ethan Bamer finished 13th in the 100 breast and 16th in the 100 butterfly. And Tim Lynn finished 14th in the 100 backstroke and 16th in the 2IM. Whereas the Albany Times Union named Coach Dan Tansky as the Coach of the Year for 2019. And that same fine newspaper also named Brian Liu the Athlete of the Year for 2019. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Niskayuna Town Board congratulate the Niskayuna High School Boys Varsity Swimming and Diving Team, comprised of Ethan Bamer, Evan Boyle, Bindu Bulamala, John Kaiser, Matt Chow, Connor Compton, Thomas Cavalier, Connor Dugai, Colin Dunham, Sam Ekman, Eli Ferret, Joe Giannetti, Cameron Goodspeed, Thomas Hildreth, Will Carafonda, Kevin Carlock, Kevin Kwan, Max Lee, Timothy Lynn, Mark Lipkin, Brian Liu, Eric Mavian, Victor Shingo, Jason Serrata, Sam Tan, Scott Ward, Rao Chin Zong. Am I close? Close, sort of. And their coach, Dan Tansky, on a very successful high school boys swimming and diving season. Calling it successful is an understatement. My able-bodied assistant here, Councilwoman Weber, will hand these out. I am going to hand this to Scott, and he's going to tell the seniors, why don't you tell us where you're going to school this year, and then Coach Tansky is going to say a couple words.
My name's Scott Ward, and I'm going to SUNY Geneseo.
My name is Thomas Cavalier, and I'll be going to NYU.
I'm Kevin Carlock, and I'm going to Hudson Valley.
I'm Matt Chow, and I'm going to Princeton.
I'm Brian Liu, and I'm going to UCSD.
I'm Victor. I'm going to be you.
I asked them to do that because you certainly see that these are more than just athletes and more than good teammates and more than fine young men. They are, they put academics in student athletes, and they really make us very, very proud all the time. They certainly make their coach very proud. So, Coach Tansky, would you like to say a couple words, and then we'll get y'all out of here. I know you love public speaking.
Yes, this is my thing. I would just, to Denise's point, this is a fine group of boys, of young men, and it was a real pleasure to work with them this year. It wasn't a day that felt like work, and I'm just very proud of the things that we achieved, and humbled to be honored here tonight. Thank you.
Stay one more second, squeeze it a little bit, let your parents get pictures. How's that?
we're gonna do a big one. I'm sorry, I'm very dry. I can't even spit.
Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations, guys. Well done.
I'll talk to you soon. Chad, how are you? We're not in Nashville anymore, Chad.
Okay, we're going to move along. Our next three resolutions are recognizing the 2019 Schenectady County Older New Yorkers of the Year, as well as nominees. And so I'm going to turn that over to Councilwoman Weber for the presentation.
Mr. West, please join me. Would you like to bring your walker? Okay. Every year, Schenectady County has solicits nominations for Older New Yorker of the Year. This year, I have nominated on behalf of the board, Mr. Dave West. He has been influential in bringing the Repair Cafe to the Schenectady County Library. And at the Repair Cafe, people bring household items and many sentimental items to the cafe. And Mr. West has a team of trained volunteers that help people fix them and help people learn to fix those items themselves. And he is able to keep things out of the landfill, and he's able to keep money in people's pockets because they don't have to buy new items. And he's able to help people keep their treasured items that they would like to keep with them in good working order. So I would like to honor Mr. West for his long history of volunteer work, and especially for what he has done here with the Repair Cafe at the Schenectady County Library. And I'll be reading this resolution to him. Whereas across the United States, the month of May is Older Americans Month, and the Schenectady County Department of Senior and Long-Term Care Services solicited nominations for the 2019 Older New Yorker of the Year and the 2019 Governor's Award for Exemplary Service. And whereas the purpose of these awards is to recognize senior citizens in the community who have devoted their time and effort towards helping other seniors in their community. And whereas Dave West was nominated by the town of Niskayuna for the honor of 2019 Schenectady County Older New Yorker of the Year. And whereas Dave West worked for the Shenendahowa Central School District as Energy Management Supervisor and volunteered for over 20 years as coach of the Niskayuna Odyssey of the Mind Team, which is a creative problem-solving and teamwork program for children and teens. And whereas he has actively volunteered as a competition judge. And whereas Dave West has been a key player in setting up the Repair Cafe at the Schenectady County Library, where he has recruited and trained other volunteers to be repair coaches to teach local residents to repair household items. And now, therefore, be it resolved that this town board, on behalf of all residents of the town of Niskayuna, congratulates Dave West on his nomination for the honor of 2019 Schenectady County Older New Yorker of the Year. Congratulations, Mr. West. There you go.
Well, is this working? I'm not great at public speaking either, but it's an honor, a great privilege to help others. And it's something that I take seriously. And fortunately, there are many others that feel the same way. There are many other people in the community, Niskayuna and Schenectady County, and all over the world. There are currently over 1,800 repair cafes worldwide that are actively participating in the program. It started 10 years ago. And that is helping the planet, we hope, to heal itself. And we're doing our little part here in this county. And there is now a repair cafe in Clifton Park about ready to begin. There's a repair cafe in Saratoga Springs, and there's one in North Greenbush. So even though I started the first one in the Capital District 2 years ago, there are now going to be 4 in the Capital District. So we're moving along in the right direction, I think. And I'm proud of the Capital District for getting on board. And I'm very glad that the Repair Cafe is getting recognition. And I thank you very much for your recognition here.
Well deserved.
So Lisa explained what we're doing here now, and we're honoring our nominees from Niskayuna for the Older New Yorker Award. And our next nominee who will be representing us at the ceremony on Thursday is Ann Perillo, who does enjoy public speaking. So we may be here for another couple of hours. Ann, come on up. This could get very dangerous, she and I.
Don't give me a mic.
Exactly. So Lisa explained what it was, so I'm just going to get to the whereases for our community treasure. The purpose of this award is to recognize senior citizens in the community who have devoted their time and efforts in helping other seniors in their community. Ann Perillo was nominated by Janice Waltz and subsequently recognized as a 2019 Older New Yorker of the Year. Ann Perillo was a pharmacist. I always love this bit of Ann Perillo trivia. She was a pharmacist for her professional career for over 20 years. A tenure as producer, and then she took on her tenure as producer and host of the Schenectady Today Show, which is a 1-hour weekly television show highlighting community groups and individuals who are active in Schenectady County and the greater capital region. Ann Perillo has been a tireless volunteer for local community efforts, including Proctor's, CAPREP, Schenectady Access Cable Commission, Schenectady County Civilian Preparedness Team, Schenectady Civic Players, Schenectady Light Opera, Singles Outreach Services, Kids Arts Festival, Jazz on J, Open Media Advisory Committee, Sister Cities Project, and now forth, be it resolved that this town board, on behalf of all the residents of the town of Niskayuna, congratulate Ann Perillo on her selection of the 2019 Older New Yorker of the Year Award. Ann Perillo.
Okay. Well, don't give me a mic. But anyways, Dave, thank you. And it's great that you got an award as well. Dave has been a guest on my show and is doing great work, as so many of the guests that come on my show, and volunteering. And it's you and I volunteer, but there are so many that do volunteer, and many are probably right in this room. I think that what we need to do is really celebrate volunteerism, no matter what age. We just happen to be a little bit older. But anyway, thank you very much for this. I appreciate it. And I'm not going to do any more.
Okay. Thank you, Ann Perillo. All right. And Ann, we're going to keep your reso and give it to you on Thursday.
I'd also like to mention another couple, Larry and Mary D. King. We did a resolution for Mary D. King, who has been doing line dancing at our senior center for years. She's been wonderful and a real icon at our senior center. Well, she and her husband, Lawrence King, were also, they were nominated by Anita McMartin Long and were chosen as a 2019 Schenectady County Older New Yorker of the Year awardees. And they were also going to be recipients of the 2019 Governor's Award for Exemplary Service. They were unable to be here this evening, but they will be honored by the county legislature and by the county at a separate service, and also by the governor's ceremony in Albany. Larry King was employed as a GE lab technician and scientist for over 40 years, and Mary D. King was employed as at GE as a corporate science librarian and Whitney Library manager for over 30 years. And the Kings have been active volunteers and board members for almost 40 years with the Friends of the Bridge Center, which is a nonprofit rehab facility for people with drug and alcohol addictions. Also, the Kings have contributed greatly to wilderness advocacy for over 50 years by volunteering for organizations including the Adirondack Mountain Club, Association for the Protection of the Adirondacks, Adirondack Wild, and the Schenectady County Environmental Advisory Council. So on behalf of the town board and on behalf of all the residents of the town of Niskayuna, we would like to congratulate Lawrence and Mary D. King on their selection as the 2019 Schenectady County Older New Yorker of the Year awardees and recipients of the 2019 Governor's Award for Exemplary Service. And this resolution, once passed, will be given to them at the county award ceremony on Thursday at the Glenville Senior Center.
We have two more, Lisa. John is next.
Yes.
Then Yasmin.
I will pass this directly to you then, John.
Yep. So now we have ceremonial resolution 2019-137, and Councilman Delarada will make the presentation.
Yes. Thank you, Supervisor. This is a quick ceremonial resolution. We just wanted to recognize our recent day that we held here in Niskayuna, Earth Day. It's become a very important day as we understand our current climate change that's going on and distress to our planet. What we have done is just kind of getting people together for Earth Day, and we want to make sure that people understand Earth Day first started as a result of the massive oil spill in Santa Barbara in California in 1969. And the founder was Gaylord Nelson. He was a U.S. Senator, and he started this tradition shortly thereafter. And the following Earth Day is, it's greatly credited with launching the modern environmental movement. It has become a significant day and is participated by billions of people every year with various activities. This year, we had an Arbor Day and an Earth Day kind of combined, and we want to make sure that we give recognition to Mrs. Melissa McKinnon, who also, like David West, wonderful people in our community who have taken they've taken climate change and the health of our planet an extra step and really put in hours of time and energy and effort. Melissa McKinnon has also done that. She has donated the American chestnut tree, and this is a hybrid chestnut tree that is disease controlled. It's very lasting, and she has been kind enough to donate 10 of those. We planted several in the Hillcrest School, Glencliff School, Hillside, as well as along the Zenner Park soccer fields. So we want to make sure we recognize Melissa. I know she wasn't able to be here tonight, and we want to recognize Earth Day and all the things that it means to the town of Niskayuna. I'm very proud to be part of this town because I think we are very active in climate change. We have reduced our energy bills significantly here, our energy use with LED lighting, gotten significant grants through Mrs. Robinson and the state of New York as far as electric vehicles are concerned. We've gotten a new boiler in our town hall, and things are really moving forward to try to take a leadership position into sustainability of our earth. So we do want to recognize Ms. McKinnon, as well as the people like David West, and celebrating Earth Day, and encourage the town board to continue to encourage our residents to take part in Earth Day and to be actively involved in it, just as they have been the past couple years. So thank you.
Thank you, John. There's Melissa.
Perfect timing.
Melissa, we just missed you. How are you doing? Come on up, Melissa. We want to thank you for all your contributions.
Another person who really likes things like this.
Yes.
It's resident torture
I
night.
really want to thank you for your contributions that you did on Earth Day. Come on up here. We know that you donated the American chestnut trees, at least 10 of them, and they were planted at a couple of our elementary schools as well as at Center Park. So we do have a ceremonial resolution for you, and it honors the great history of the American chestnut as an important food source and culturally significant tree in our area. And in pursuit of the Earth Day mission, the members of the Niskayuna Town Board do hereby thank Ms. McKinnon for her hybrid American chestnut trees and direct that they may be planted in the Niskayuna parks and schools to encourage specific species diversity and contribute to the enjoyment of our parks and schools for generations to come. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. Would you like to say anything, Mr. King?
She's running. She's already out the door.
You're welcome to say something in light of Earth Day and the things that...
Or to thank all the tree council members. John didn't get to that part.
Oh, absolutely. We have a wonderful tree council this year, and we are going to be doing a lot, teaching people about how important trees are and how to take care of all of the amazing trees that we have here and how to keep planting them too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yasmin.
I'll be making mine from here. So last but not least, we have ceremonial resolution 2019-138, co-sponsored by Councilman McPartlin and I. This is a ceremonial resolution recognizing Police Week in the town of Niskayuna, and that week will be May 12th through 18th. So Councilman McPartlin, if you would like to say some words or read some of the whereas clauses, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. All right, Chief, come on. Trying to hide in the back of the room.
I know, really. Back
We're
corner.
gonna bring him up. You gotta come up like everybody else. I know you're not afraid to speak in public either, so, okay. All right. Whereas there are over 950,000 sworn law enforcement officers now serving and providing for the safety and protection of others throughout the United States, including the dedicated members of the town of Niskayuna Police Department. Whereas on average, just over 57,000 assaults against law enforcement officers are reported each year, resulting in approximately 16,525 injuries. And since the first recorded police death in 1791, there have been over 23,700 law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty.
And currently, there are 21,541 names engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. By a joint resolution in 1962, Congress established May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week of which May 15th falls as National Police Week, to pay special attention to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. I'll let Yasmin read the last one there.
Thank you very much. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Niskuna formally designates May 12th through May 18th, 2019 as Police Week in the town of Niskuna and publicly salutes the service of our law enforcement officers in this community and in communities across the nation. We can't thank you enough for putting your lives on the line every day and for ensuring the safety of the town of Niskuna. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, Chief.
Just before the meeting, I had the opportunity to look at the last resolution we had done for Police Week, which was in 2017. And I was just kind of shocked by the increases in the numbers between then and now. Certainly, it reflects that while rewarding, being a police officer is definitely a dangerous occupation. While we're a 28-person department and small by comparison to a lot, we do see a lot of the same issues that are going on across the country. That said, we strive to improve how we do policing here in Niskuna, as well as trying to develop new ways and train for things we haven't even seen in the past. The town board's very supportive in allowing us to train. A lot of topics we do are now, violence in schools, places of worship. We're dealing with violence in domestic settings and offices, sex offenses, and an opioid crisis that's just exploding. So all these things, the training we can receive can help us to, serve our residents better and keep ourselves safe. So just on behalf of all the men and women of our police department, we really thank the board for all your support. That's it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Oops. Okay. We also have a presentation. So we really like to pack the beginning of these meetings full of lots of fun stuff. So before we move on to approval of the minutes and privilege of the floor, we are going to move into our presentation section. And this is a presentation on the 2018 Community Needs Assessment by Naomi Wood of Schenectady Community Action Program. So Naomi, if you would join us, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful, and we're joined by Miss Elise Martin, so thank you for coming.
So the funniest thing happened when I was watching The Simpsons the other night. You never believe it. No.
Who didn't see the episode? Anybody?
You good?
We are good.
Excellent.
Oh, yes, that's mine.
We'll do the lights and.
So I'm really sorry to have my back to you. It's different. So my name is Naomi Wood. I work for Schenectady Community Action Program. We are located in the heart of the city of Schenectady, and every 3 years, there we go. So every 3 years we do a, every 3 years we do a community needs action, holy cow, I'm so sorry. So every 3 years we do a Schenectady County Community Needs Assessment. And part of that assessment is we collect data across the board, across the entire county, and we use that data to really drive our services and what goes on in the community. For those of you who do not know who we are, we service approximately 7,500 low-income residents annually. We assist people through early learning, birth to age 5, employment services, housing. Sorry, I feel bad having my back to everybody.
It's fine, it's fine.
We're fine.
Okay. So we have services in early learning, birth to age 5. We have employment services, and we have housing and community services. I do have information about our services and my card in the back. So if anybody would like additional information, I'm happy to provide that for you. So in the CNA, we use as many data sources as we possibly can. We use a lot of local, statewide, and national data sources, but we also use a lot of qualitative resources. So we did approximately 250 surveys. We had 9 focus groups. Additional information that we collect for it is through our SCAP Strategic Plan Partner Survey, Early Learning Parent Guardian Satisfaction Surveys, our career readiness class surveys, and our formerly homeless people maintaining housing evaluation. So we really try to make sure that when we do our community needs overview, that we are getting the voice of everybody in the community. So this is our community. We focus on Schenectady County in its entirety. So Schenectady County is one of the smallest counties in New York State. It is also, even though it is one of the smallest, it is one of the most densely populated counties in the 8-county area of the capital region. And it is more racially and ethnically diverse and impoverished, with a greater percentage of disabled individuals and less high school attainment than the other 6 capital region counties. So just so you know, as we go through the PowerPoint, I will focus on Schenectady County, some on the city of Schenectady, and if there was anything that I could pull out regarding Niskayuna, you'll see it bolded in the on the one side. So this is our population for Schenectady County as a whole. There's 154,000 residents throughout the county. Niskayuna has approximately 21,000. There's no significant changes in population since the 2010 census. So 42% of county residents live in the city of Schenectady. One thing that kind of stood out for me was that Niskayuna's population has increased slightly each year since the 2007-2011 American Community Survey. That total change was 531 people. If you have a question, that's up to you guys. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to ask.
Just peek into questions at the end.
Okay.
Is that?
So one of the things that also stood out was the age distribution. So the highest percentage, through the county, there is a higher percentage of females. There's 51% females throughout the county. The lowest median age occurs in the city of Schenectady at 35.8. The highest median age occurs in Princetown, followed by Glenville and Niskayuna at the age of 43. And so on the right-hand side, this is the highest percentage of total population by age. So Niskayuna has the high, let me just make sure this is correct, has the highest percentage of population of children under the age of 5 at 6.9% of the population, followed by the city of Schenectady at 6.3 and Rotterdam at 6. Also, Niskayuna has the highest percentage of total population for the age range of 5 to 17 years of age. I'm sorry. Is this good? Okay. And then 18 to 64 years, we have Dwaynesburg, and 64 years and above, we have Princetown. Niskayuna has the third highest percentage in the 64 years and above at 18.6%. One of the highlights that really stood out to us across the board is by 2020, it is projected that there will be a 19% decrease amongst the age cohort of 45 to 54 years of age. And conversely, the cohort of 65 to 74 age cohort is expected to increase by 55%. So you'll hear at the end of this presentation, it's one of the focuses that SCAP will make sure that stays in the forefront for us, is that senior services are included in everything that we do. So. Race and ethnicity, I found this really interesting. I'm not sure my chart is actually showing the significance of it, but the city of Schenectady remains a diverse community. While Schenectady County residents outside of the city continually to identify as primarily white, majority of the race and ethnicity, majority of the diversity remains in the city. But the municipality outside of the city with the highest number is Niskayuna. And then, so our economic profile, our median household, Niskayuna has the highest median income in the county at $99,000. This chart's a little harder to read, but if you look at the bottom chart, it's Niskayuna household income, and it's just showing you that 2.9% of the residents in Niskayuna earn less than $10,000. 1.9% earn less between 10 and 15,000, and 3.5% between 15 and 24. And then again, I'm happy to share this so everybody can kind of see it. So one of the things that we really focus on is poverty. And this is our poverty chart for the entire county. So the first chart shows people who are living below poverty level, and then the second part shows you the percent. The 15.5% of the population in New York State is living below the poverty level. The highest level of poverty within the county is within the city of Schenectady. One of the things that I found interesting in this is that since the last SCAP community needs assessment in 2015, there has been a shared increase of impoverished residents living in other Schenectady County communities. So we have seen throughout all the communities, we've seen a rise in the poverty level. And Niskayuna is at 5.4%. About 1,200 residents live in poverty. This chart actually reflects back to the chart that we were talking about age. This is poverty by age. If you look at this chart, it shows that this is the highest percentage of total population in each age category living in poverty. You'll see that Niskayuna falls in the third highest for children under the age of 18 years at 5.9%. And for individuals 18 to 64 years, it's second at 5.6% of the population lives in poverty. This is a chart that reflects children under age of five in poverty. There are approximately 9,000 children under the age in the county. Of those 9,000, 2,000 of them live in poverty. And then this chart will break down total number of children for ages. So in Niskayuna, from 0 to 2, there's 922 children that live in Niskayuna, and out of the 922, 30 of them live in poverty. And then children between the ages of 3 and 4, there's approximately 599 children that live in Niskayuna, with 19 of them living in poverty. So other factors related to poverty are gender. 10% of males live in poverty and 13% of female. That difference equates to 2,100. So there's 2,100 more females that live in the county that live in poverty. Single parent families, the 19.4% is actually the statistic for Niskayuna. So 19.4% of single parent families live in poverty. Race and ethnicity, educational attainment, income and disabilities, seniors, incarceration, new Americans, kinship care families, these are all factors that relate to poverty. One of the things that I wanted to demonstrate was just how one of these factors could substantially change a person's income. So the median earnings in the past 12 months by a disability status. So a male with a disability earns approximately $20,000. A male without a disability earns approximately $32,000. The total difference between the two is $11,620 difference. Right. I thought that was interesting. Education. According to the 2016-2017 school report card data, there's an increase in the number of economically disadvantaged students in every school district. That percentage increased 2% for Niskayuna. It went from 10% to 12% of students live in poverty. This is the unemployment rate. The kind of neon green is New York State. The blue is Schenectady County, yellow Albany, and then the green is Rensselaer, and the dark blue is Saratoga. So you'll see that Schenectady County and Rensselaer County have the same average at 4.5% of unemployment. This is just 5% below the New York State annual average. Data for Schenectady County, which are workforce barriers. 10.6% of residents speak a language at home other than English, and 39.5% of residents over the age of 25 have only a high school diploma or less, so educational attainment. And there's a high level of poverty within the city of Schenectady, 21.1%. What was really interesting on the side is there's United Way does the ALICE report, and the ALICE report stands for, the ALICE threshold stands for asset limited, income constrained, employed. So these are people who are employed but are asset limited and income constrained. Over half of all households in Schenectady fall below this threshold. So 50% of people are employed, but they are asset limited and income constrained. Housing is a huge, huge thing. You'll see when we get to the focus groups, I believe the statistics, about 50% of people identified safe and affordable housing as an issue. And you'll see that 46.3% of households in Schenectady County have incomes below 80% of the HUD area median family income.
and that 31.5% of all households in Schenectady County are cost burden, defined as over 30% of income expended on housing-related cost. So across the nation, we say that any individual should only spend 30% of their income on housing, and 31.5% of our population spends over that. And then 49.1% of renters of the county and 51.1% of renters in the city are cost burden. Comparatively, 26.6% of homeowners in the city are cost burden compared to 22.7% of homeowners countywide. So even it demonstrates homeowners are also feeling the cost burden of it. Every year we do a homeless count. Bethesda House scours the entire county, including Duanesburg and Niskayuna, and we and all the agencies that help homeless individuals collect our data, and we submit it in. I believe it's for January 25th. So super cold night in the middle of winter, and the team again scours the entire county looking for homeless individuals and where they're documented. In 2017, our point in time account said there was 274 homeless individuals. That increased to 339 in 2018, and it increased again in 2019. And then one of the other some other data that we track for homeless individuals is the services for people experiencing or at risk for homelessness. Again, this number is rising consistently across the years. In 2017, it was 2,297. In 2018, it was 2,690. And again, it raised in 2019. That data just actually came out either today or yesterday. So I'm going to hand it over to Elise.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Elise Martin. I'm the Assistant Director of Housing and Community Services at SCAP. So Naomi just gave us an overview of some pretty staggering numbers. Over half our community is living just above the poverty level. Thank you. And our homelessness number is going up. We have a lot of children living in poverty. So what do we do about this? Part of our survey, like we talked about, is conducting focus groups. We conducted 9 focus groups that included customers who receive our services and live in the communities. We also surveyed our board of directors and our staff. So we can get a really well-rounded from people working in the community, people invested, and people living in the community. Overall, their top 3 needs that they identified overwhelmingly was safe and affordable housing. So not only access to affordable housing that they could not be rent burdened, but also that it was safe and habitable. A lot of times the apartments that are for rent in our community may be affordable but aren't going to pass code. People end up taking them because they need some place to live, but they really should be safe for them to benefit their families for their well-being. They also have a huge need for childcare services. And our focus groups, people talked about not only having your typical hours, 9 to 5 coverage, but also flexible coverage. So we talked a lot how there are single parent households. A lot of times you're your only backup if a kid is sick. And if you have a job where you don't have sick time, you can't call out of work, or you've called out too much already, you don't have a plan B. And a lot of times we see people losing their employment because of that. So that kind of on-call childcare, or childcare that does second and third shifts. We know a lot of people are working those shifts within our community, but there's not a lot of childcare options for overnight. So that's a huge need. And also youth programming. So positive resources for youth to get involved in the community, have structured activities, and interact in a positive way socially outside of school. That's a huge preventive measure that the community needs. In our staff survey, they reflected really similar trends for the need. Again, safe and affordable housing, childcare services, and then also transportation services. Schenectady County is really resource rich, which we are lucky. But depending on where you live, you might not be able to access those services. For example, if you are a Niskayuna resident, if you want to access SCAP services, you would have to travel to them. So having that travel available for people is really important so they can get the assistance they need. Overall, these were kind of the general trends that we saw. So again, the youth programming, jobs that pay livable wages. So not just getting a job, but really having a career path that helps people work and raise themselves out of poverty, childcare, housing, transportation, mental health support, both formally, being able to get counseling, but also informally. We saw a lot of people talking about how they needed peer support, parenting groups, things like that. Within our focus groups themselves, when people would bring up a topic of need, a lot of times other people would start giving them resources. So just having a way where people could share that information. A lot of times people are kind of, in their little silo and don't know about a resource that would be available to them. So having more formal and informal mental health supports, peer supports, improving neighborhood safety overall, and again, education support groups and domestic violence support groups. So overall, what can we do to meet those needs? Employment training. So again, people can get careers instead of just jobs, education around the topics of need and how people can work their way out of the situations that they're in and meeting their goals, and access to services. People talked about not having to bounce around to 10 different agencies to get what they needed, to have everything in one place, to have more community centers. And then they also talked about some of the barriers, things that we need to work on breaking down for people to be able to move out of poverty, which is just a general lack of awareness of services. We've taken steps recently to try to address this. There was just last week a community fair down at the main library branch. So trying to bring people together to just know what's out there, what they can get help with. Today I had a customer come in who was just like, I'm not sure if this is the right place to be, but I have this issue going on. And of course we were able to help them. He was looking for some housing assistance, but people just aren't sure where to go for help when they have a question. And that services aren't accessible. So they might not be right in their neighborhood, or even accessibility in terms of the language that someone speaks or physical accessibility for a building, and that it's a difficult path to recovery in some of the neighborhoods. So people who are talking about recovering from substance use disorders, they may get out of a rehab program and then go back right into the same people, places, and things, and not being able to get out of that, especially because affordable housing is such an issue. So they might not be able to afford to move or live someplace else, or that's where their support network is as well. So kind of balancing that challenge. In conclusion, overall, like we said, we really want to focus on the aging population and making sure that we're meeting their needs, focusing on the immigrant population and helping them navigate services. We are seeing poverty increase outside of the city of Schenectady, so making sure that SCAP's footprint and other community-based organizations are serving areas that aren't just within the city of Schenectady. That we are providing employment services and training and education for people to have livable wages, and that we're looking at the issues on a holistic basis. People aren't just coming in because they need one coat for the winter. They're complex issues that stem from a lot of trauma in people's history, and so we need to really look at all the steps that have led someone there to be able to resolve those issues. Just continuing on, we also need to look at safe and affordable housing. I think the numbers show that that is the #1 concern that our staff and our customers have identified, making sure that there's comprehensive early childhood education and Head Start programs like we have at SCAP, that we're continuing to collaborate with the Schenectady Coalition for a Healthy Community. Not only do people need to make sure that their basic needs are met and that they're able to have a livable wage, but again, looking holistically, that their health is taken care of so they can address those other needs, that services are integrated. We're looking at the whole family. So we're not just working with the children. We're not just working with the adults. We're working with everybody. So we're addressing the family in all of their gaps. And lastly, just awareness, making sure people know what the services are. The community needs assessment kind of highlights the three main parts. People need services, but the service providers need to know what the community needs so we can provide accurate services and actually address those needs, because we can have great services, but if they don't help what people actually need, there's no point in them. And then people need to be aware of the services so they can access them and complete that cycle. Does anybody have any questions? There was a lot of information all at once. Mhm. Yes. Yeah, so SCAP is part of a national community action association, and that's one of their largest pushes because we know that people who live in poverty are underrepresented on the census. So absolutely, that's something that we're doing on a national level to really push. There was actually a focus group as well with Schenectady residents to talk about that issue and kind of problem solve on a local level too, how we can do that, because we don't want that data to disappear. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much. Oh.
I just had a couple of things. So first of all, the community fair last week was fantastic. I was there. I was so pleased. Allison Marnucci, our Niskuna Zone, did a fantastic job as a volunteer. I really think it hit on a lot of what we're looking for. Just, as you said, people know what the issues are, but finding the resources and trying to connect that. I thought it was just a tremendous first step. Some of the things you talked about, I think we all know, but you never really thought about before. That when you said childcare for second and third shift,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 50-year-old woman. I've never thought of that before, but of course that's an issue. So how can folks help? I mean, because that's really, where do you go from here on an issue like that?
Yeah, I mean, did you want? So I think one of the things that we've learned through the focus groups is kind of looking at who's already doing the work and how can you support them. So, we don't want to duplicate services. So if there's a need, we want to look to build up a resource in the community. I know the Child Care Council is doing a lot of work in the community as well. So kind of looking to the experts, looking to the community members, and seeing where that work is being done and putting our support behind it.
That's great.
I just want to thank you both for coming and doing this presentation. I have requested that you come out and do it because I had a chance to preview some of this information as a SCAP board member. And when I first heard it, I said to myself, this information has to get out there, to all of the policymakers and all of the town boards in the county. Let's start here in Niskuna. Can you come here first? So,
Thank you.
because unless we have the information, we can't adjust our policies in order to make sure that our services are reaching everybody. It's important for us to have the information about the demographic shifts so we can plan appropriately. So I encourage you to, to go to the other town boards, to go to the city council and make sure that everybody knows this important information.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are happy to do presentations. There is information in the back. I'm sorry, only about 30 with me. But my card is attached to it with information about SCAP. If you want more information about the community needs assessment, it is actually a 3-page document. It's actually super friendly, very easy to read, I think. And it has a lot of graphs and charts to make the information a little more fun. But you can go to scapny.org and it's right under you'll see under our documents.
But if you send the PowerPoint that you made just for this presentation, we can certainly make that accessible.
That would be great. And apparently the video that accompanied your speech was not playing, was not synced up for the folks who are watching online. So that's why I wasn't being rude. I was getting texts from people saying, we can't see their next slide. So we'll get it up online for anybody who's watching at home. We'll get it up
yeah,
online right away
you're
'cause it was
being
fantastic.
broadcast on YouTube.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Oh, I think there's a gentleman in.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I actually spent Saturday morning watching the presentation on the Alice report. It was really scary numbers. I just put it up really quick. They're projecting 3.2 million households, almost 45% in New York State that can't afford the basic needs of basic housing. We actually participated in an activity where we were forced to, based on an income, decide how you would survive. Yes, and it was really eye-opening because it's just something you think in today's society couldn't be done. Some scary stuff out there.
It is. I think a lot of times you think like when politicians, like, different people step in and they're like, oh, I'm going to live 1 month on this salary. They already have a ton of resources in place. But when you start with nothing and then crisis is happening, you're looking for child care or your car breaks down, those are a lot of the people who we see that come into staff, like they might be maintaining or doing okay, but like one thing sets them back, or one thing like you buy your child medicine or you pay your rent. So they choose to purchase medicine and then now behind on their rent, and it kind of just spirals.
It was really interesting because I've heard it said a lot, but never go home until Saturday. So many families are one incident away from possibly homelessness.
Absolutely, absolutely. We see it all the time. And one thing that we also see a lot is that there's very strict rules and regulations. So you may be behind on rent, but unless you receive an eviction notice, you're not able to receive services. So sometimes the landlord may not give you eviction notice for 2-3 months, maybe longer. Once you get that eviction notice, and you go through the system, a lot of people can only help with like 1 month of rental, or 2-3 months, but you're like 4 months behind. But again, because you need that 1 minute. So sometimes our phone costs is kind of. You're more than welcome to email me, outreach to me, go on to our website, there's lots of information. So, thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that very informative presentation. We're now going to move on to approval of the minutes. We have the minutes from the regular town board meeting of September 25th, 2018. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you. Is there a second for that motion? I will second.
I'm actually going to make a motion to pull them. There's a couple of little edits that need to be made, and it would probably be best to make them and then approve them at the next meeting.
Okay. So you feel the changes there are too many changes to be made just right now?
To go through, I think so.
Okay.
So let's, in the interest of time for everybody, and let them have their chance to talk.
Sure. Okay, so Councilwoman Weber, you made a motion to table the
Yes.
approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Can I have a second on that table?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're going to table those minutes until the next meeting. Now going to open up privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is now open. If anyone would like to speak during privilege of the floor, I would ask that you approach the lectern, state your name and address for the record.
He's got buttons.
I do. Good evening, Bill Leader, 18 Norwood Way, and I am one of the co-chairs of the annual Niska Day celebration, sponsored by the Niskayuna Community Action Program. This is year 38, if you can believe it. I just want to compliment the town board and for all that they do to support Niska Day. We cannot do it without you. We cannot do it without the school district, and especially from the town, the support from the police department and the highway department. We have a dedicated committee of 30 people that work 4 meetings a year. That's all we take to get Niska Day delivered to the community. This year's theme is Hats Off to Niski, where we're going to, in essence, recognize everybody and all the hats that they wear in the community and make this just a fantastic place to live. So I have for you all a
Thank
button.
you. Well,
These are available at the co-op for those of you who want to purchase them for the monstrous sum of $1.
a true community celebration. And Bill, thank you, and Denise, for everything that you do
You are the heart and soul of our community celebration, Bill, and thank you very much.
Well, this is our last year.
No, I don't want to hear it. These are beautiful. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all the years of time and effort that you and Denise have put into Niska Day. It's an incredible day. I think it's older than I am. So without revealing my age, Niska Day is slightly older than me. So
Me too.
all of us, right? So I just think it's an incredible community event, and it's something that I always remember. I've never lived in Niskayuna without a Niska Day. So that really is a true testament to what you and NCAP has done. So thank you so much.
You're here.
If anyone else would like to speak during privilege of the floor is still open.
Amy Howansky, 2833 Whitmire Drive. Congratulations to the boys swimming and diving team, Mr. West, Ann Perillo, the Kings, Melissa McKinnon, Chief McManus, and his officers for all their recognition tonight. Excellent work, everybody. Thank you to the SCAP ladies. That was a really informative and saddening presentation. I'm disturbed, and I think we need to do more to help the people who need help in our community. I am concerned about Resolution 2019-116, which is the resolution to set the salary schedule for a confidential secretary to the supervisor. That has been on the docket for months now, and I think needs to be resolved so that the supervisor can have a secretary with a set schedule working for her. I am a member of the Niskayuna Tree Council. We have been working very hard to educate residents about trees and to install trees. Recently, we held a very successful Arbor Day event, during which we gave out tree saplings such as red bud. Thank you to the Girl Scouts for bagging those saplings and for helping us during the day. We also taught people how to prepare a Kentucky coffee tree seed for planting. And we planted an Arbor Day celebration tree, a type called a tupelo, which will have incredible, just gorgeous orange-red fall leaf color. Thank you to Mike, Josh, and Cody from the Highway Department. They delivered and helped us plant the tree. We made them dig 2 holes. I take responsibility for making them dig the second hole. They did a great job. Thank you very much. The Arbor Day Student Art Contest was a big hit as well. The winners were 4th grader Andrew Zhang and 10th grader Courtney Miola. We had an arborist from CF Forestry and representatives from National Grid at the Arbor Day event, as well as information about invasive species and correct tree care. Thank you to Supervisor Syed, Councilwoman Weber, Town Clerk Martinelli, and Attorney Hess for attending the event. We look forward to another great Arbor Day event next year. The Tree Council has also been hard at work to increase the diversity of tree species in Niskayuna, so that should a particular pest or disease affect any one species, our overall urban tree collection does not suffer more than just a percent or 2. We have ordered some really beautiful trees, and we will be planting them soon. Additionally, residents from a few different neighborhoods have approached us with concerns about damaged trees, trees that have been removed, or the lack of trees on their streets. So we have made site visits to these areas to assess the situations, and we are working on solutions for each of these areas. Thank you to Ray Smith from the Highway Department for involving us in those tree assessment questions. We are in the middle of planning another tree planting project with community involvement, and we welcome volunteers who want to help us. Additionally, the Tree Council is improving our website to include more tree information and to be very user-friendly. And we are moving along with a town-wide master list that keeps track of our street trees, what type they are, and what condition they are in. So everything is going great on that. We have also knocked on doors in neighborhoods to work with residents and contractors to select sites for new trees, street trees, and to teach residents about the dangers of too much mulch around the base of their trees. If you have questions about your street trees or you wish to volunteer on our future tree projects, please call the Tree Council. You can do so by contacting Laura Robertson in the Planning Department, or you can attend one of our monthly Tree Council meetings and you can see what we are up to. Now, I volunteer my time on the Tree Council because I believe that if I am complaining about something in the town, I also need to be contributing to the town. My skills as a horticulturalist mean that I can offer help with the town's trees. I've been very vocal in the past about the wastewater treatment facility at the end of Whitmire Drive. Recently, I was driving down the street to my house and I could smell something horrible coming in through the car. When I parked in my driveway and opened the car door, I was hit in the face with a god-awful stench that hung in the air. I quickly went inside the house, only to find that the smell was also already inside the house. I didn't even have any windows open. The stench was coming from the wastewater treatment facility. The same thing happened a few months ago. Now you can say, Amy, what did you expect? You bought a house on the same street as the treatment facility. But before we bought that house, we made many trips to the street and to the facility and actually sat and smelled. And we wanted to see if there was a foul stench in the air. There was not, so we decided to buy our house. When the smell overtook us the other day, I called both the town and the sewer and water department and left messages about the smell. I received a call back from the sewer and water department telling me that my, quote, concern had been passed along, unquote. I did not receive any other follow-up calls from that department to explain what was going on. Several other residents on our dead-end street called or emailed with similar concerns and complaints. One resident emailed all of our town board members and received a reply from Councilwoman McGraw. And I will read a small part of that. Ms. McGraw wrote in part, "Please tell me what you are proposing the town do. We are mandated to upgrade our system. Your complaints to date have been about the trucks related to the construction that is near completion. So far, I've added speed signs, added a turn sign at the end of your road, and addressed brush, et cetera, et cetera." That's just a part of the email. Councilman McPartland also sent a letter to one of our residents assuring us that our troubles were almost over because the upgrade construction would soon be completed. According to her letter, Councilwoman McGraw seems to think that the residents on Whitmire have only complained about construction traffic. When I get up here to talk at privilege of the floor, I can see many of you roll your eyes. I've seen it before. I hear the heavy sighs. I see you stop listening a lot of times. Oftentimes, some of you are fiddling on your phones or on your iPads. And maybe that is why you think our concerns and our complaints have only been about construction traffic. We have complained about the construction traffic, that's true, and the way that the super large trucks don't make it around our 90-degree corner, and the way that the construction suppliers speed up and down the street. But we have also brought up concerns about many other things. The effects on the adjacent Mohawk River State Park. Vehicles associated with the wastewater treatment facility were consistently parking in the parking spaces that are supposed to be used for the trailhead of the state park, which prevented residents from parking there. I alerted the town to that, and I alerted the New York State Parks Department to that. I spoke with one resident in particular who had to turn around and leave because there was no place for his car, so he could not go for a walk in the park. I have sent pictures to the New York State Parks Department of an increase of dead animals in the road because of the increase in trucks on the street. I have complained that when filing paperwork for the DEC, the town indicated that the project was not near any parkland, when in fact, the facility is surrounded by the Mohawk River State Park. That same paperwork indicates that there will not be a significant increase in traffic in the area, when in fact, there will be 10 to 12 tanker trucks per day on the formerly quiet street. I found out this information about the DEC paperwork by doing a FOIL request with the town, and residents can do that FOIL request and request information about town paperwork. We have also complained that this project did not go through the usual planning board and zoning board procedures. If a resident wants to add a pool or a shed or a deck or a fence, they need a review and a preview, sometimes a consult with the planning and/or zoning committees. That depends on their project. But the town went ahead with a multi-$1,000 long-term project without having the planning and zoning committees review it. If you residents are concerned about what could potentially happen at the OD Heck site, you should be concerned about what happened at the wastewater treatment facility. We have brought to the attention of the residents and this board that the town will now be doing a commercial endeavor by charging a fee to outside companies to process their waste products. And this commercial business will be conducted on a road zoned as rural residential. We have raised concerns about our property values decreasing. We have raised concerns that by accepting outside waste products, there will be 10 to 12 tanker trucks traveling up and down our dead-end street every day, shaking the ground, rumbling with excessive noise. We have complained that the Conservation Advisory Committee was told that there would only be 5 trucks per day, and that when I spoke with some of the members of that committee, they said they might have had more negative feelings about the project if they had known the number of trucks would really be 10 to 12 per day. We have complained that the board members keep insisting that there will only be 1 truck with outside waste. However, ESG, the company coordinating these efforts, has told us that there will be 10 to 12 per day. The claim about only 1 truck is really that there is only 1 truck during the initial trial period. However, the plan all along is for that to increase so that the treatment facility can be used to its maximum commercial benefit. And now the town has to move forward. They have to move forward with that plan because they bonded thousands of dollars to pay for this project, and they also budgeted thousands of dollars as revenue coming in from this project. The town can't afford to just have 1 truck per day earning them money. Councilwoman McGraw claims to have personally addressed several issues for us. There were no issues addressed on our street or planned for our street until we, the residents, complained and complained and complained. As stated, Councilwoman McGraw did finally add a slower speed sign to the street, and yet we still have vehicles speeding up and down it. Councilwoman McGraw says that she ordered a turn sign for the end of the street. I believe you're referring to the one at the intersection of Whitmire and River Road. That sign doesn't help us. That sign is for trucks leaving our street, telling them to not turn left onto River Road because they cannot legally proceed to Rosendale Road because Rosendale Road cannot handle the weight and the size of those trucks. Yet it seems that the town believes our narrow dead-end street, Whitmire, can handle the weight and the size of those trucks. Councilwoman McGraw claims that she addressed brush on our street. Here's where we have a significant disagreement, because I am the one who addressed brush on our street. I called the liaison at the New York State Parks Department and explained to him what was happening on our blind corner. I asked him for permission to cut back brush so that we could see better around the corner. He agreed. I took his contact information and passed it along to Rich Palick, the former head of the Water and Sewer Department. Rich talked with the parks representative. Rich marked the brush area, and then Ray Smith and his crew cleared some of the brush in that area. I spearheaded that project. We thank Rich and Ray for their great work on that corner. We thank you for that. And it has helped the trucks to be able to see a bit more around the bend, but it doesn't alleviate all these problems that I'm addressing here. All along, we have acknowledged over and over again that the town was mandated to do certain upgrades at the wastewater treatment facility. However, they were not mandated to go as extensively as they did. They were not mandated to bond thousands of extra dollars to create a facility that could accept outside commercial waste for processing. We have also always acknowledged that green energy and responsible waste reclamation are in the best interests of the environment and of the town residents. But we have been disappointed and disturbed by the way in which this project was sent through the back door without proper review by the planning and zoning boards, with incorrect information written on DEC paperwork, with incorrect information given to the Conservation Advisory Committee, and with no regard to the residents who are and will continue to be affected. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open. If anyone else would like to speak during privilege of the floor.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Lorene Zabin, 2455 Brookshire Drive. My complaint is that I'm going to be paying my utility bill under protest. I had also heard from our former superintendent of water and sewer that we were going to be shocked when we got our next bill. And that, and I was. My bill, as a senior citizen, a very minor household, one, has gone up $60. Now, I thought perhaps there was a mistake. And the $60 was from the last bill, the one in, well, let's see, I brought it in here. So it had to be September. So this bill was just received and it's due in May, which I will pay. There is an additional $60 increase. Oh my goodness, I had to have a swimming pool running or something going on there. I did call a lovely lady in the sewer and water department. And the only thing she could suggest is that perhaps I needed a new instrument, a water meter. I have not made arrangements for that yet. But to address Miss Amy on her problem, when I moved here in 1977, one of the things that was a model for the town of Niskayuna was our water plant. And after I was appointed to a position in town hall in 87, I guess, we used to take people down there. I mean, it was clean. It was a picture of a sewer plant. And the houses were lovely and the people were grand and everything was hunky-dory. Now, granted, through the years and through the population explosion and the housing industry, we've had to upgrade the service. I am also astonished that the first budget I recall moving here was like $7 million, even if it was that much. We are now approaching an $18 million budget. But it isn't what we budget, it's what we bond. And the bonding, as you know, and I thought we were doing a bonding resolution tonight besides, so I don't think we are. We've raised rates, we've sold contracts, we are still bonding, we've increased our debt, and we've increased the fees. Certain things in this town, as I recall, and I feel sorry for the newcomers because so much of this is just blind to them, we're part of our tax structure. And I look at Denise because, you know, she's very pleasant, very active, had a daughter. That's why the pool is in such good condition, because she was a champion swimmer. And I appreciate that. We live here. We want things for our family. I'm embarrassed when I see SCAP and what's going on. I mean, we don't belong here. We belong in Connecticut or someplace. But we are a very fortunate town, and I understand that. And I have been very happy to live here all these years. But I do find that this board is not only arrogant, but it also thinks the residents are a bunch of fools. We don't complain, except for me. They don't come here because they say, what's the use? And all we get is I think a slap in the face. I honestly don't know, as far as every one of you. I've known Paul Briggs since 80, what was it, 87? I mean, he is a master of patience. I don't know how he manages. I really don't. The other thing that I would like to say is most of the help
especially, I would say, the town clerk. She certainly does a job. She tries to administer to everyone that comes to town. We are not people of a political party. We are elected by everybody in this town to serve the town. And I resent the fact that 4 of you have waited a year and a half to give our supervisor, who has been a master of calmness. I think she has an amazing ability to sit there and listen to the negativity on everything that she has asked to do. And I resent that. We waited, we had an hour of reward presentations. I think we should have a presentation night, a rewards night. And we get all these wonderful kids and students and athletes and whatever, and have one grand big party once a year to celebrate them. I think sometimes we do things that are advantageous to the board. It's a profile for you. I don't want a profile for you. I want you to work for us. I want you to keep rates down. I want you to reduce the bonding and the debt of almost $54 million and probably more than that. We can't even get whatever we needed to do that we've postponed now because we don't have time to get some sort of a controller's report. Why not? What's going on? We're so busy transferring funds and buying things. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on, but I do find, and I am very disturbed, that you're playing footsie with everything that our supervisor has asked for. She asked for a bookkeeper so she could check on the budget. We don't have 4 bookkeepers in the controller's department. We have people that work there and do whatever they do, but they're not bookkeeping. If they're writing in a book, is that bookkeeping? It has nothing to do with what our supervisor wanted originally. And yes, I am a champion of people that get elected for the town and give their time. But I think that the 4 of you really have to examine why you work for the town of Niskayuna, because you're not working for us. You're basically working for yourself and all the wonderful people you appoint to boards that are your friends and neighbors. I've said my piece. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Leslie Gold, 1919 Pawtucket Avenue. Just a point of information. The town projects have never gone through the planning board. They don't have to. This building was never gone through the planning board process. Various other town improvements also did not go through the planning board process. There is no requirement that they do so.
Thank you.
Joseph Harrer, 2053 Lexington Parkway. It's the sewer system, the District 6 sewer system that I'd like to talk about. Well, Ms. Zabin says that we're $54 million in debt. I got it at 48 million. At any rate, it's 3 times what your budget is. Your budget is 15.4 million. And the interest and principal payments on that is 3.7 million. The town each year pays out 24 cents for every dollar collected. You could bring it down to 20 cents for every dollar collected, and with the program that you're thinking of going into, which is to run 10 trucks, 10 very large trucks through Niskayuna each day, each working day. All right, you plan to bring waste material from Pepsi in Latham. You plan to bring it in 5,000 gallon batches. A 5,000 gallon batch This stuff weighs 42,000 pounds. That's a heavy load. It's a very heavy load, and it takes a very big truck to transport it. It's not a vac truck. It's not a dump truck. It's a very big tanker truck. It's an 18-wheeler. You need the 18 wheels under this truck because of the weight. This truck and the load will come in at about 36 tons. The maximum you can put on a road in New York is 40 tons. So you're pretty close. You're about 10% under that. If you want to use a nautical way of looking at it, your VAT trucks and your dump trucks are battleships and cruisers. This truck is an aircraft carrier. It's huge. So you want to send this up and down Niskayuna. The load from Pepsi each day, one truck. Oh, you said it would be one truck. It would be a trial period. The DEC has to look at this. They want to make sure you're not bringing in phosphates and nitrates and nitrites and ammonia and stuff in this. So they're going to look at it. You're going to test it. By the way, a bottle of soda has phosphate acid, I believe it is, in it. And if you bring 5,000 gallons of this stuff in, you're putting 7 pounds of that stuff into the digester that you have at the wastewater treatment plant. Let me see. All right, so you have it. So the anaerobic digesters at the wastewater treatment plant have a daily capacity of 49,000 gallons. They can take 49,000 gallons of this stuff every day. If you bring it in 50,000 gallon batches, that's the maximum you can bring in is 10 trucks a day. 10 trucks a day would be, well, it would be 20 trips. It would be a trip it'd be a truck every 12 minutes. It would be, yeah, 10 going in, 10 going out. You try, so this is a trial run, but you wrote a contract for 5 years. This is a trial for 5 years? I don't understand that, and it's at $4 a gallon, and that's the price you're going to get. Coca-Cola isn't going to come here for more than 4 cents a gallon. If Pepsi is coming here for 4 cents a gallon, or nobody else, a Snapple or a Dr. Pepper or any of those soda companies, if it's soda that you're going to bring in, and soda is pretty energy efficient. So, stick with the soda. All right, so with your 4 cents a fee for 5,000 gallons, you're going to get $200. Every trip will be $200. So at the present schedule, one truck in, you'll get $1,000 a week, 52 weeks. So that's $52,000 a year. That's a little bit less than what you have budgeted. You have budgeted $208,000. So you got to up the number of the deliveries to get to 208. You need four trips a day to get to the 208. But you're going to go for 10 because that's the maximum that you can get in there. And you're going to why have this if you're not going to go for the maximum? So and then if you do that, you'll be bringing in 1,200 cubic yards, 1,000 tons each week. If you work it out to a year, it's 60,000 cubic yards of material, and it'll be 52 tons of stuff you'll be bringing in. the argument could be made that you have changed the wastewater treatment plant where your stuff comes in on the ground in a pipe. It's quiet, nobody knows about it. You're going to bring it in trucks. This amount of material, it looks like a town dump to me. No? It looks like a town dump to me. And this is going to go down Whitmire Drive, this sleepy little country road. Well, if you do, there are certain things that you have to do with roads if you're going to bring in big trucks. And if you're bringing in 4 or more trucks a day, you have with a entry lane and an exit lane, which you will have on Whitmire Drive, you have to build that as a commercial driveway. And as a commercial driveway, it has to be 30 feet wide. I mean, that's prudent. I mean, you're not going to put these big, heavy trucks down Whitmire Drive for very long and still have Whitmire Drive, because it'll be all gravel, because it'll crush the roadway. It's not built for these trucks, and you want to do it. But so I don't know how you're going to get around that. All right, and of course the 90-degree turn, you'll need 28 feet for that 90-degree turn, because the back end of the truck does not follow the front end of the truck. Doesn't like go around in the same radius. Now, when you get to coming out of Whitmire Drive, you have the same problem. You still need 28 feet to make the turn. And at that turn, when you make your right turn, you can't make a left. When you make your right turn, you have a street sign there. You have a hydrant there. You have a utility pole there. That truck driver has to get around that. And the way he does that, I sent you a link. The way he does that is he goes straight out into River Road. He goes out into both lanes, 45 miles an hour going this way, 45 miles going that way. So he's going straight out towards that house that's right out there. Goes straight out there, gets into both of those lanes. He's looking to his left, he's looking to his right, and he's looking behind him because he doesn't want a car to get into that area where his rear wheels have to go. He gets out there, and then he makes his turn with 45 mile an hour traffic in this direction, 45 mile an hour traffic going the other way. Is that dangerous? I would think so. I think something will have to be done there. Okay, so now, what is enough of that. What about the trucks going through town? The trucks from Latham will come up Route 7. It will go across Union. It'll make that turn at Union and Balltown, head north on Balltown, then turn around, head southeast again on River Road. Other trucks can come in from Hillside Avenue. They can come in from Knott Street. They can come in from Balltown. They can go up Balltown Road from State. But most of them, the worst one is, and I think most of the trucks will come from the thruway, I-87 and I-90. I think that's where the trucks will come. They'll come from there, I-890 to Route 7, and then they'll go up to Balltown Road, and they'll try to make that left-hand turn there, and then they'll go up Balltown Road. I think, was it last year or maybe 2 years ago, somebody wanted to build something on Balltown Road behind CVS, between CVS and the TV station. And there was a big uproar. A lot of people came out, filled this place. A lot of people came out because of the truck traffic just the traffic that this thing would cause for Balltown Road. Well, in the comprehensive plan, Balltown Road is noted that it it is a very difficult road traffic-wise, the way it is now. And now you want to bring these 10 more trucks or 20 trucks. You want to bring 10 trucks going north and then 10 trucks coming south, one truck every 12 minutes on Balltown Road. These people complained about the traffic 2 years ago. What are they going to do now when they find out that these trucks will be coming back up and down every 12 minutes? They don't know about it now because the board has been a little bit stealthy on this. It hasn't been advertised that much. And you're going to, try to get it in under the table, sort of. But I think when they find out, they'll be very upset. But what can you do? Because you're writing 5-year contracts. Say, well, what can we do? We have a contract. We have to live up to our contract. So I think you need, if you had gone to the planning board and the zoning board, and I know you don't have to go to the planning board and the zoning board, and you're not going to go to the planning board and the zoning board, because they would bring out, you would have to say, this is our final plan. This is our plan. We're going to bring 10 loads in each day. We're going to bring 50 loads of this stuff in each week. And then people would have something to go by. But you're not doing that. You're doing a contract now, maybe a contract 6 months from now, maybe another year after that, and you'll sort of grow on the town. We'll be like frogs in a pot on a stove, and the water's slowly being brought to a boil. And, and by the time the frogs realize what's happening to them, they're cooked. Will that happen to us? Maybe. So, well, anyway, these trucks going up Balltown Road every 12 minutes, what is that going to do to the peace of the people living on Balltown Road? What is it going to do? Excuse me. What is it going to do to people? Maybe these trucks can, on certain occasions, if Balltown Road backs up, there's a lot of traffic on Balltown Road. These people have GPS systems that tell them that, the road up ahead, there's a problem. They can cut through residential neighborhoods. They can cut through at Bowman. They can cut through at, I think, Hickory. They can cut through at Mott Street East or Baker or roads like that. They can bypass a lot of the traffic by cutting through neighborhoods, right, through residential neighborhoods. Are people going to like that? Well, let them complain, because you'll have contracts and you'll have five-year contracts. And what can you do? You have to live up to your contract. So what else is there? Oh, just this whole thing with Whitmire Drive. If you look at their properties, there's 8 properties on Whitmire Drive, and there's 3 more on River Road that are involved here. And if you look at that, their value is about $4 million. You have, because this is over there, hanging over their heads now, you have diminished their value, the value of their homes, stuff that they worked for. You've diminished that by in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the hundreds of thousands, if you take the whole thing, if you take the whole $4 million, I don't know how much it is, but you have diminished the value of their homes just by having this thing over their heads. And, well, that's not right. That is definitely not right. So I think that's enough. That's enough. Okay, thanks for listening. I gave you some stuff before. This might have a couple more links on it, all documents.
Different than the email you sent the other day?
Huh?
That's the email you sent the other day, right?
Yeah, it may have a few more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Thank you. Andrew Bigness, 1940 Regent Street. I have several tough acts to follow. I'm here tonight to take issue with Councilman Delarada's remarks made at the last agenda meeting in reference to a resolution to set the salary for the confidential secretary to the supervisor. Mr. Delarada said, and I quote, "I think one of the issues that we have here with the salary and why we insisted on a description for the new confidential secretary is that the last one did not, in my opinion, serve the town. It certainly did not serve me as a town board member," end quote. For those of you who don't know, I am the last one that Mr. Delarada mentioned. And with all due respect to him, I would remind him that all town employees, including the confidential secretary to the supervisor, serve the residents of the town, not the town board members. I would also note that Mr. Delarada's remarks stand in stark contrast to those of his colleagues on the town board. Very briefly, I know it's late. When I left town hall, the supervisor hosted a farewell get-together, and I was particularly pleased to see Councilwoman Weber and Councilman McPartlin there. I'm proud to say that I enjoyed a very good working relationship with both of them. And I even heard at one point that Councilman McPartlin got in a bit of trouble with his colleagues for spending too much time in my office when he visited town hall. I don't know if that's true or not. And of course, now we come to my favorite Democrat, Irish Catholic Democrat from New York with 3 names, Denise Murphy McGraw. Remember, actually, Daniel Patrick Moynihan is my favorite. You're number 2, don't worry. I will let Denise to speak for herself on this issue. So from a January 3rd, 2019 email, Andrew, I'm sorry I didn't get to see you while I was there to wish you well. Thank you for your service to the town. Happy New Year. All my best, Denise. Thank you for your service to the town. Just wanted to repeat that for Mr. Delarada. If you didn't hear, you can foil Denise's email, as Amy suggested. So as has often been said, you can take the high road, you can take the low road. I suggest here that Councilman Delarada could learn a thing or two from his colleagues on the town board and take the high road. I guess unless, of course, that road is Whitmire Drive, I guess he's not that too popular there. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Daryl Bray, 1420 Van Antwerp Road. I have a lot of things to say, but I'm going to try to cut it down because we've been here for a while. First of all, I haven't spoke to you guys in a while. It seems like there's a lot of people who want to talk to you lately, and I don't get up at because I'm like, well, this is sort of taking a long time. I feel like maybe I'm not that important, but I've had a lot of notes that I've been wanting to bring up, and ever since I sat through the budget meetings last time, which almost made me never to come back here again. I'll be honest with you. It was a very difficult, I mean, I was spending like 5 hours here sometimes. It was like, I don't know. And you guys had to win like a contest to get to be there. So, which was, I thought really says something because I was being there very voluntarily and I thought there was something wrong with me, but I didn't, go out and debate people to make sure I could go. But, in all seriousness, I was impressed with all you guys going through the stuff. I was here when we met the candidates, when the supervisor was running. I heard her comments about the budgeting and all the issues that she perceived. I saw her preliminary budget, which, was what it was. And to her credit, there were some ideas. Denise, I think, stepped in and they were able to eliminate some things that to me seemed to be kind of negative. I think there were some good ideas. I watched a lot of the planning board yesterday on YouTube, which was like a new thing, which I never did before because I had to pick my daughter up at swimming. Congratulations to the swim team, by the way, and our older citizens that were awarded things tonight. That's pretty cool. I also was a champion swimmer in the summer parent relay for the Wild
In that
Turkeys.
really fancy high-end pool
yeah.
that you like so
Well,
much? Yeah.
We joke about the pool, but in all seriousness, the pool isn't very good. It's not. I think it's funny that they say it's criticizing the money spent at the pool, but I am a physical education teacher. I joke with Mr. McPartlin that I run because I need to beat him
Mhm.
in the 5K that they held here at Town Hall. That's really, I don't care if he beats me. He doesn't beat me.
He doesn't
by the
beat
way.
you.
I don't,
But-
yeah.
But no, but I kid him because I'm glad that you're out there, and I don't beat anyone either, except for you. But you know, I'm a little younger
You're a
than
lot
you are,
younger than
and
me.
you know, but I'm not beating anyone really. But my point is that the health and fitness is critical. The healthcare costs are out of control. I mean, I sat here in the budget meetings. I was actually over here and listened to Mr. Sebesta talk kind of in a chagrined manner about the cost of the benefits for our town employees in a negative way. And it really bothered me because I think those things are important. Like we got to pay for that. You know, those are things that we got to take care of our people. I really believe that. I think we have to pay them a fair salary, you know, and that's a lot of what drives the budget. I mean, is the cost. I mean, and hearing things that clerks were not getting raises for long periods of time. That bothered me, you know. You know, I'm off my topics here, actually. I'm out of order. But I did want to also say that Laura Robertson came to Hillside and we planted some chestnut trees for Earth Day. Yes, and Melissa McKinnon and a bunch of other people, and Jeff Twitty, who's not here. But, you know, that's pretty cool. I mean, Laura is really amazing, you know, that going out, planting trees, digging with a shovel. I saw her out here one time. I remember this a year or two ago. It's nighttime, and we're coming into a meeting. And she's out there with a shovel at the veterans thing, digging in
Planting,
the ground,
yeah.
planting stuff. I'm like, you know, that's special. You know, she's amazing, really. We're lucky to have her. I wish I know that you guys know that, but the salaries drive the costs in the budget. And when I hear about the wastewater treatment plant, which I know was the second of that type plan in New York State, because I was at the meeting when it was presented. And in Gloversville, where they put it in, they won the DEC New York State Environmental Excellence Award the year that they put it in. And I mean, that's a pretty big deal. That's a good thing. Now the location is an issue. And I'm very sympathetic to the residents that are impacted. And I've said that we need to probably look at some mitigating factors and see what we can do. I mean, we're not going to be able to move the thing. And you hear about back to the salaries, and I know why you put the wastewater treatment plant in there. And I know why it's so attractive to be able to generate revenue by, in an environmentally friendly way, managing wastewater from Pepsi or wherever. I mean, in a lot of ways, it seems like a slam dunk, but, and I know you guys care about these things, and I know it's important to you that you keep the tax rate down and all that. And I've heard the criticism, and some of it's unreasonable, in my opinion. But we need to not lose focus on what's important. And I know you guys think about it. Okay, because what you guys are doing here is important. And I know I'm getting long here, but I want to make sure that we hear a lot of criticism, but there's no way in my mind anybody should be able to say that you guys are sitting up here because there's some reason that you enjoy having people come up and not understand or not appreciate what you're going through. Now, disagreeing is something different. All right, and I don't agree with everything that everybody says, but I've always been impressed with you guys, have always listened. I talked to John Delarada on the phone for like an hour in the middle of the day, like 2 weeks ago, because I misunderstood something that he said, and he took the time to talk to me. You know, I was very impressed by that. And I want to thank you for taking the time, because I didn't understand what you were saying, or you misspoke. But I'm gonna fall on my sword here and say it was my fault. You might have been, you know. But you guys get up there and you respond to things people say, and you're not scripted. And if you say the wrong word, I mean, words matter. But I get up here and I say something crazy, nobody's gonna even question it. But if you make one mistake, everybody wants to hold it over you. I'm sympathetic because I certainly say the wrong thing at least half the time, maybe even 2/3. I'm not sure, but going on with the pool, which is important. Why is it important? Because our healthcare costs are incredible and they're out of control. I mean, that was the reason for the ACA, was that healthcare costs were already out of control. And it was partially mitigated to a degree, but it hasn't stopped it. When I was in college, becoming a physical education teacher, they told us 80% of the things that kill you, or the reasons why people are hospitalized or whatever, can be prevented if people were more active. 80%. We can't afford to keep paying that 80%. I'm a firm believer. I want the diving board,
I know.
but Denise's daughter had to almost kick me out of the pool because I was doing things that apparently were against the rules off the diving board. I thought they were fine, but anyway. But I really believe that if you build it, they will come. We need to provide services. There has to be opportunities for our seniors to be active, for everyone to be active. I mean, we do that 5K in the fall, and I'm always here, and you guys are here, most of you too, and the kids are here, parents are here, the families. It's great. Such an important thing to encourage the activity. And yes, it's an investment, not necessarily 5K. It's probably minimal, but the idea of these activities, the bike path, the multi-use paths, the town pool, which, I do believe could be improved. But if we have these opportunities, these avenues for people to be active, it's going to make a difference. It's going to save us money in the long run. We're going to be healthier. We're going to be happier people, and it's going to make a difference because we can't afford to do it the other way. I firmly believe that. I have other things, but I'm going to stop because I think I'm going too far. But I want to thank you guys for sitting up here and listening to me and listening to everyone else, because I don't know that anyone ever really thanks you or is appreciative of all the things you do. Because you sit here and it's tough. I know it's tough. And you guys listen, and I know you do care. And I'm impressed, and I'm pleased with having you guys represent us. And I hope that you continue. But I will say this in closing. We talk about the budget, and we talk about money. We talk about the 2% tax cap, which I talked to Mr. Delarada about. I'm concerned. I don't like it. I don't like it because it's artificial to me, for one thing. But I also know that although the rate of inflation over the last 5 years has been roughly 2%, meaning we can cover our costs. If you go back for the last 100 years, I think it's like 3%. So how are we going to move forward? How are we going to fund these things? It's a challenge, and it's not going to be easy. We are capable people. There are answers, and there's creative ways of doing it. But I hope that you guys are conscious of making sure our community stays in the great spot that I think it is, and whether or not the Simpsons really think that we're fancy or not. I'm not worried about it. I never really worried if anybody thought I was fancy before until I started thinking about it. But I think that we are pretty fancy. At least that's what I think. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bragg.
Thanks, Daryl. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak.
Very quickly, I forgot one thing. I have sent a personal invitation and a Niskaday button to Homer.
Oh, yes. Oh, great.
Hello, I'm Tom Hodgkins, and I have 4 things to talk to you about tonight.
Your address, please.
Rosendale Road. First item is the EODH campus. I went down to the Columbia University Library, Avery Library, and I went to the Charles H. Warner Architectural Records, and I took some photographs of all of his plans for the OD Heck campus. And I have those over 200 photographs of things from construction. What they did was every 2 months, they hired a helicopter, a plane to fly around the site and take a lot of photographs of the construction. So I got some pretty cool photographs from that. And then the sites, there's some site plans, not too, so I have some site plans and then sign logos for some of the buildings and some of the services. So there's a lot of really interesting information. The library has a lot of restrictions on how that can be used, but they are allowing me to put that together in a PDF, and I will clear that with them, and then I can distribute it to select members of the board and to the planning board. So that's what they have requested of how I can share that information with decision makers. So that's it. That's one other note in that category. That process, there's that site really impacts, 3 communities, 3 municipalities, Niskayuna, South Colony, because that's, if any kids going to school there would go to South Colony School District, and the city of Schenectady, which is bordering it. So really, a supervisor, I think, should take the lead and establish, an inter-municipality planning committee and kind of evaluate what's going to happen with this site, where the goals that all 3 municipalities have, and kind of look at it from a broader perspective as well, because everybody's going to be impacted, not just Niskayuna. So that's my suggestion. So take a broader perspective on that. Second item is River Road Park. I have some concerns about that. Some of the things on the agenda today, as well as I'm going to talk about my concerns about the River Road Park. It got a state grant for 3 things: drainage, bleachers, and scoreboards, and to upgrade the pavilion. The pavilion, I got a lot of questions about that too. In the 2016 Town Parks Master Plan, it noted that the small pavilions are aged and not used much. So they're not used much, so why are we going to be spending $65,750 on a new pavilion, which will increase the footprint in the grassy area? In addition to that, you're also going to be adding 30 new parking spaces, which is going to increase parking by 30%. You're going to add a new road in that's 80 feet long. Approximately, these are all just based on the plans, I don't know when they were done, from McDonald Engineering. This is too small. I don't know when he did this. Anyways, it's in your packet. So there's going to be a significant increase in impermeable land there. Again, 30% more parking. So I have some questions about the determination about the environmental assessment form. By adding 30 new spaces, are you going to have a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? I think, that's potentially, if you're going to be increasing parking by 30% and building huge new facilities there as well. So you're going to increase the capacity significantly. But your determination was you're not going to increase traffic above present levels. And so I think that's incorrect. And I think that there's going to be an impact on the wetland, because you're increasing the impermeable surface area by roughly half an acre. And all that water, it goes downhill to those developments. That's where all the water goes, into the development, into the homes, into the basements of those houses. So you are going to be hitting the wetlands as well as the houses as well. But with this increase of you're going to pave over the parkland and then increase water runoff. And so that's, I think you have a determination that on 17, will stormwater discharge and flow to adjacent properties. So I think that is also incorrect. I think you are going to increase the water discharge to adjacent properties. So I think there's some things you should review in the determination again about how you're evaluating the project. The budget, again, I don't know. You have I don't know. So you're moving forward with a design grant. Let me get back to my notes here. Okay, so the pavilion was built in the early 90s. Those pavilions that you want to destroy, but there's nothing wrong with them. They were built in the early 90s. They're solid. There's no structural issues with them, and so I think there's really no reason to remove them. So with this, I think and I was talking with some people who spent some time down there, some other families of softball families, and there's ideas to maybe put a concession stand in there. So maybe I think if there is a desire to put a pavilion in, I really don't think we need to. I think we spend the state's money on some of these issues here with the poverty in Schenectady County rather than spending the state's money on a pavilion. I think it's really unnecessary to spend the state's money on a pavilion. I think that's really obscene. But if that is what you want to do, I think maybe build on the site that you currently have, expand the pavilion. That already has a high impact site there, build that out. I think there's other ways to add parking if that is really there. I'm not convinced that you need additional parking there, especially 30%. But if there was, somebody mentioned that, you could just add in some parallel parking along the road. And that way you're going to just be widening the road and you're not going to be, paving over grassland. So I think I think really what I saw here was, I don't know how all these plans came out, but I think there are better options out there or different options that I think you should consider or have the community consider. I think you should put together a River Road Park community that would kind of just brainstorm, get the kids involved. What do they need? How is this going to tie in with the schools? You also want to improve the trails there. Before, when that was private property, I used to go through there and cut through there to go to school. That's how I used to go to school, was through those. So you don't need gravel roads. You don't need asphalt roads on your nature trail to get to school. I mean, I got to school no problem with just a deer path. Anyway, so I think you should kind of rethink some of these improvements, a way to kind of optimize the current use and minimize the environmental impact. Okay, so third item. This is a suggestion for our supervisor. I think there needs to be an audit of the town-run recreation programs. I think you should evaluate the true cost for participants. There's a number of costs for participants. There's equipment. Sometimes equipment required is double the price that you can get on a standard online shop because it has the Niskuna N on it. Then there's picnic fees and photo fees and T-shirt fees and banquet fees and trophy fees and snack specials on certain days of the week. So you have all these fees that you have to pay, but you only list the one price up front. So I think you should really kind of evaluate the true cost of programs for participants and advertise that and charge that up front. So I think you should disclose the true cost of the program to people. And then for some of these things, I think you need to have these competitively bid. And that way you're going to avoid, you could competitively bid all the clothing, all the trophies, all the banquets, all the picnics. You can get all this competitively bid out and get a better price, better value for your residents. That way you're going to avoid some of this funny business that there's a potential of funny business. Saying there is, but there's a potential when you have contracts that aren't bid out We're preferred vendors and self-serving. So finally, I think as part of this audit of recreation program, you should have a town oversight of all financial transactions, should eliminate cash transactions like you did at the transfer center. A lot of times there's just a lot of cash flowing around for different things. Eliminate all that. Ensure that there's the vendors, if things are being sold, that they have a vendor permit, that they're collecting sales tax. That's an issue that I think you should investigate to make sure that things are being sold properly. And ensure that the public municipal law is being followed for fundraising. And that means no kiddie gambling. So I need to make sure that these programs are run transparently, and there's some accountability for the financial transactions, and you get a better value when I think the town has more involvement in these things. Okay, last thing. We are having, I'm happy to announce that as part of the Evolve Niski Democracy organization, we are going to have a participatory budgeting forum on May 22nd. Participatory budgeting is a process where the community decides how to spend money, whether it's allocating funds for parks or different programs, but it's completely led by the residents. And it's been done in New York City. It's been done all over the United States and the world. It's really brings people together to solve the community's problems. It fosters social capital and just people being civil and working together to try to solve problems. And it gets people involved. And another great thing is that you have kids in New York City, kids age 11 and up can participate and vote. So you're getting kids in 6th grade voting on how to spend their parents' money. Now, why wouldn't they love that? So that's going to be on May 22nd here in the boardroom, and the supervisor has been gracious enough to participate, and we also have the superintendent of the schools who's going to participate. I believe we're going to have a professor from Union College as well as somebody from the Schenectady Foundation. Things are still so solidifying, but it's going to be on May 22nd at 7 p.m. And we're going to have presentations about the history, how it would work, how we might be able to implement it, and we're going to do a participatory budgeting simulation as well to just kind of see how it might work. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. Privilege of the floor is still open if anyone else would like to speak. And last call on the privilege of the floor. If you would like to speak, do so now. Okay, I'm going to close privilege of the floor. We're going to move on to committee reports, and we're going to begin with Councilwoman Weber.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. Before you head out there, Mr. Bray, I just want to thank you for mentioning the importance of community activities. It's a good segue into my community programs report, which I will try to keep brief because I know it's getting pretty late and we haven't gotten to our resolutions. So I just want to thank the teenage volunteers who helped with the Spring Bunny Parade that we had almost 2 weeks ago. We had over 225 children attend and have their picture taken with the bunny. And these teenage volunteers helped out with the children with crafts and handing out candy, and really do appreciate that. Our driving range is open. We have youth and adult golf lessons underway, and registration is open for our summer camp programs, where we've added some afternoon programs to complement our morning programming so kids can have a full day of summer activities with Town of Niskayuna programming. We're looking forward to May, where we look forward to participating in Niska Day every year. Look for community programs and senior programs tables in the information tent. Our senior center also continues with its full complement of exercise programs and art programs. There is a trip to the Tulip Fest on on May 11th, a bus ride to enjoy that event. That's in downtown Albany. It's very convenient to take our bus trip there. We're also celebrating Cinco de Mayo and Mother's Day in May. I will be at the Senior Center at 11:30 on May 23rd for an informal senior advisory committee meeting, and our next community programs meeting, it will be on May 7th at 3 o'clock upstairs in the Shaver Room. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman McPartlin. Oh, no, Delarada, sorry. Out of order.
Thank you, Supervisor. I do chair the Economic Development and Historical Society Committee. We do meet on the first Friday of every month. We'll be meeting this Friday on May 3rd at 8:15 in the Schaefer Room right here in Town Hall. It is springtime, so there's a lot going on. Fortunately, the town is working and resolving grants. We have 2 resolutions on tonight to move forward with the engineering at River Road Park. And that is going to do upgrades to River Road Park softball fields, pavilion, and restroom facilities. And the Conservation Board has determined that it will not have a negative effect on the environment. Most of what's being done there is going to, in fact, help the drainage infrastructure, and that will help a lot of what's going on with the flooding of the fields. We also have Upper Union Street grant money, and some of that is going to include a raised median with a crosswalk on Upper Union Street. Also, there is going to be some pedestrian crossings, then some critical points here in the town of Niskayuna where there's some safety issues, and one of those will be on Knott and Regent Street, and one will be on River Road, I believe connecting the Flower Hill with the bike path there. Also, there is going to be some grant money coming in and a resolution involving a town dock at the Aqueduct Park. And of course, that's very important to the town. And we're also going to have bathrooms put in there. And the Conservation Advisory Committee has decided that that bathroom and town dock also will not have a negative impact on the environment and will help it to drainage and fight erosion and have a dock that is stable and safe. The planning board issued a site plan approval for a nail salon at Niskayuna Square and a real estate office on Eastern Parkway. So we'll have new businesses that we'll be welcoming shortly. We did have an Arbor Day, and that was mixed in with the Earth Day that we talked about earlier. Very successful chestnut tree planting at the Glencliff Hillside School along with Zenner Road. I unfortunately was away and wasn't able to be there, but I do want to thank all the volunteers that were there, including the ones mentioned earlier today. Very important as part of its effort to help educate people about lawns and reduce the need for pesticides and fertilizers, just one of the many things that the town is doing here to help our environment. And to do things like Earth Day and Arbor Day and all the grants that we have to fight climate change. This is a big one. We're reducing the need for pesticides and fertilizers. The CAC has invited David Chinnery. He is a cooperative extension educator with Cordell Cooperative Extension of Rensselaer County, and he's going to give a talk to Niskayuna residents about how to grow a healthy lawn. And most likely he'll give ideas about how to grow that lawn without using a lot of dangerous pesticides and fertilizers. There should be a lot of good tips and ideas for going organic. So we do encourage anybody who can attend. That seminar is May 6th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. right here in the town boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman McGraw.
Thank you. The crossway that John just referred to is actually on River Road, St. Joseph. That's something we've been working on for a long time now. We hear from a lot of residents who are trying to go from the Orchard Park neighborhood right over to the bike path. So I want to thank Laura Robertson for not giving up on that one because it's been a very important one for that area of town. I will go as quickly as I possibly can because I'm looking at all of your faces and you're awfully tired. But on the public works side of things, hydrant flushing has started. I think everyone has seen that has gone on throughout the town. The transfer station project continues to move on. Two things that had to happen is one, the electricity to the existing building had to be cut, getting new electricity over there, and the bathrooms that are needed. Currently, the bathrooms for the staff over at transfer station, they use the garage that's there, that's coming down, obviously. So we're hoping to move forward. The bathrooms have begun over there. The garage itself should be coming down very soon, and then some new landscaping and really a whole new facade and a whole new area over there. As you're driving on River Road, it should really be a tremendous upgrade. The splash pad has begun. Speaking of that area, that project has started, and we are very hopeful that we'll move forward on that. There's going to be some significant upgrades to the dog park. That is something that we hear from the residents who like to use the park or are over there, and it could use some sprucing up and some love. There are a number of people who really enjoy the dog park and just trying to upgrade some seating, some shaded areas, the dog exercise areas or whatever we call those. We're going to kind of fix those up, Barbara. I don't know. What do you call them? But we try to get those agility. My dog isn't very agile, so, but they're great things. They were built by an Eagle Scout, and I think they just need some sprucing up. And so we're going to try to get that taken care of. It may require a couple of days of the park being closed, so we can get it all done quickly. And we're just trying to get a timeline, and then we're going to get word out to everybody because I know it has a loyal following over there. There's some new water main work that's going to be done on Route 7, and it's a significant project, but it really should alleviate a lot of the issues that we continue to have over in that area of town. Over on the highway side, last week we met with the Canal Corp over on Lock 7 Road. If anybody has ever been over there, you certainly felt it as you drove down. It's a road that, it's an interesting road because we own part of it and the state owns part of it. And it's not just like this half of the road and that half of the road. It's kind of like an in and out throughout the road. So getting all of it addressed as quickly as possible has been a challenge, and getting everybody to understand who owns what has been a challenge. But Canal Corp met us over there the other day. Ray's crew and the highway guys that got out there and patched. That's going to be the plan for right now. We're going to arm wrestle over who's going to pave and reconstruct it for next year. Canal Corp has a significant project going on at the lock between now and next summer. So we didn't want to engage in a big project over there right now because they're going to have a lot of heavy equipment going in and out. But moving on from here, we think that the road will certainly be upgraded and it can really use it. And this time of year, so many folks like to ride their bikes over there. In some areas, it's impassable. But today, it is much better than it was last week at this time because Ray got his crew out there to at least get things patched. There's a new sign on Balltown as you go to Route 7. It was requested by some neighbors, and we worked with State DOT to give you a little more warning as you get to the intersection of both Union and Route 7 on Balltown, where you can turn, where you cannot turn. So we're hopeful that that will be helpful in a very small way, but to try to alleviate, the various issues that accompany Route 146. Ray's team is out there sweeping right now. There are tree crews going on. We continue to work on the Dean Street issue. As most folks know, that is a county road, but trying to move forward with our partners in government at the county to at least get some speed detection signs up over there. That's what we've met with the neighbors. We've talked with them about that. And so we're trying to move forward on that. There's two different Girl Scout troops Girl Scout groups in town who are going for their silver awards, and both of them are focusing on traffic safety in the town, which really is saying a lot to me right now. It's very top of mind for a lot of folks, and those two Girl Scouts, Yasmin and I are both working with them and trying to support them and help them, and other department heads are doing that, and I think it's just a nice effort by some younger girls who want to get involved in the community and try to be helpful. Bill left, but the highlight of my report is the Avon Road sign. We've had a variety of masons out there to assess the damage, to give us quotes so that Paul Briggs can go then and duke it out with the insurance companies. The weather really hindered us in the beginning. It happens in the middle of winter, and we couldn't get masons wouldn't go out that time of year just to give us an assessment. They really needed to look at it. So we are trying to move forward with that as quickly as we possibly can. We know full well that it's an eyesore and it's one of our most iconic landmarks in town, and we've got to move forward on it. And now, all due respect to my friend Wilkin, these blue bags. I have heard from many of you in this room, many of you throughout the community, many others who live in Schenectady, and they don't even live in Niskayuna. Inside this bag is your Niskayuna. And a lot of folks in Schenectady are not interested in getting that. I know folks are very concerned, especially in the old Niskayuna neighborhood, about those landing in their driveways or they're sitting around for a while. As Jeff can attest, I have reached out to the Gazette to try to figure out some sort of solution around this. I know that folks in town have tried to give me some ideas and solutions. Banning them is a very hot item right now, saying we can't do that. I don't think that's how we're going to proceed, but I think we're trying, and we're in communication with the Gazette to try to get something figured out, because I've heard from more people over the last few weeks than I have heard about just about anything in a long time. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Highways and then followed by Public Works are on Thursdays. This week it's on this Thursday. 7:30 is Highways, 8 o'clock is Public Works. AM.
Thank you. Councilman McPartlin.
Thank you, Supervisor. Police and public safety. I'll try to be brief. Operationally, we discussed canvas letters for the academy in July, UCC staffing with the county. That's usually on our list for operational issues we've been having with them. Building wise, we had a little trouble with the phone in the lobby of the police area. We're getting that straightened out. Training, I always speak about training, alert training, chief, deputy chief, and some other officers are going for some training. Range recertification for all of our officers happens every spring. Citizen issues, and we do take these very seriously. Rosendale Road, Niskayuna Road, Mayfair Road, South Country Club. That happens to be one of the Girl Scout project roads. Rose Hill Boulevard and Pine Ridge, Huntington Drive area, and Fernwood Drive. And as Daryl said, we do listen. Mr. Casella was here last month speaking about Rosendale Road and indicating about speed issues there. The speed limit is actually lowered at Rosendale Road near the park. The speed limit on Rosendale is 35, but it is posted before you get to the park at 30 miles an hour. I don't know if he was aware of that, but it's already posted like that and has been for some time. And our officers write between 4,000 and 5,000 tickets a year here in town. So that's a lot of tickets. Our men are out there doing, men and women, our officers are out there doing their jobs. 650 of those tickets are on county roads also. So we're on our own roads and the county roads. Community events in May, the police week, Rezo, that we saw. Drug Take Back Day, that was this Saturday here from 10 to 2. I was here. I want to thank all the volunteers from NCAP that helped with that. Also, our own Sergeant Twitty and the chief and myself were here. We collected 7 boxes, approximately 128 pounds of medications that are now being destroyed. We get those off the street. National Drug Take Back Day. It's well advertised, not only here in the town, but everywhere. Again, we have our drop box here in Town Hall. It's available anytime that Town Hall is open for business. People can drop any unused medications in that box. Pedal Paddle and Run is May 10th. Niskaday, as we all heard, May 18th. And I can finally say that winter parking rules are now over, so we won't have to repeat that every month for a while. And our next meeting is May 7th at 8 a.m. in the Shaper Room.
Great. Thank you. I'm going to move on to supervisor's report. I'm going to be really brief. I had a few things that I was going to mention, but we need to get going here because we are almost hitting 10 p.m. Yeah, if that clock is right. Yep. Okay, two quick announcements. This Saturday, baseball parade. It's going to be a great time. Valley Cats are going to be there with their mascot. So that's for Niskayuna Baseball. Even if you don't participate in Niskayuna Baseball and you still want to participate in the parade, it's going to be a fun day. We are all invited to throw out a first pitch. So that will be interesting. I have to practice. So that's probably what I'll be doing over the next couple days. And then last announcement, we will have changeover of art installation here in the boardroom. The next showcase is going to be our 2018 Art Out winner, who is Carol Farrell. So part of her prize package was exclusively showcasing her art here in the town boardroom. So it's going to be all of Carol's work. We're really excited for her to set all of that up. It's going to be beginning Monday, May 13th. So look forward to that. And with that, we're going to head into our resolutions. And we're going to begin with Resolution 2019-94, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution for seeker review of River Road Park improvements, Phase 1.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-95, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution for seeker review of Aqueduct Park bathrooms.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
McGraw? Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilwoman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-96, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution for seeker review of Upper Union Street improvements.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-97, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution for seeker review of critical pedestrian crossings.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Ms. McGraw. I did mistake and say not street on that one critical crossing, but that one in St. Joseph's is much needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-98, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution for seeker review of Mohawk River Watershed Grant.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-99, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint an employee in the town's planning department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to thank Jean Fody. I want to congratulate her for doing so well on the civil service exam, her commitment to the town to increase her time here. I think is well endorsed. She's outside now with Mr. Hodgins, but everybody at the planning department and the planner herself really does appreciate everything that Jeannie Foti does. She's a valuable member of the team, and I'm glad to see she'll be taking on more responsibility.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-100, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a member to the town's Complete Streets Committee.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye, and I'm
Councilman-
thrilled to have this new member of the Complete Streets Committee. It's a very valuable committee.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-101, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to enter into a software contract with IPS Fire Inspection Model.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I have a second? Oh,
Second.
okay. Weber will second.
Lisa? Okay. All right.
Any discussion?
This resolution is going to help with our fire inspections that need to be done. It's a state mandate. Of course, it was an unfunded one, but we are going to fund it and get it done with this inspection module.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-102, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize professional services for design at River Road Park.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just want to say that I'm excited that we're beginning on this, and I am looking forward to seeing what the engineering design designers come up with.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-103, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a person as a part-time employee at the recycling and transfer station.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
I think anybody who's paying attention or getting the emails or attending these meetings, it's no secret that we're having a tough time manning the transfer station at the level that we really would like and the level that the folks who use it deserve. I am thrilled that Zach Chinsky is willing to join us over there. I think he's going to be an excellent addition. So thank you very much to him.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-104, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a water and sewer maintenance worker.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
This is another position is much needed in the town. I heard from our superintendent of water and sewer after he conducted the interviews, how impressed he was with Mr. Bellick, and we welcome him. We look forward to him putting to very hard work, but very much needed work. So welcome, Mr. Bellick.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
this resolution passes. Welcome. Next resolution, 2019-105, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a water and sewer maintenance worker.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
I'm going to say all the same things. Matt and I spoke during the interview process every day, a couple of times a day. And again, Eric Matthews, thank you very much for being willing to come join our team. It it is one of the most important aspects of what we do here in the town. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. I'd like to welcome you as well. Next resolution, 2019-106, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a water and sewer maintenance worker.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
Again, Michael, I would like to welcome you. I would like to know what 2.5 James Street is, but I am thrilled that, thank you very much for being willing to join our team. No wonder Josh Walter's here tonight. He's got a lot of new members. So this is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Congratulations, Michael. Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-107, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a senior wastewater treatment plant operator.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
Obviously, this is a critical position for us. I know that Matt has spent a lot of time trying to find the right person, and I really do think that we have found them. So I am thrilled that get to work.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-108, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a chief wastewater treatment plant operator.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion?
So some folks may know, some folks may not. Ed Luffman, who has served us very well over at the wastewater treatment plant for 15 years, is retiring, and this is it. And he's moving on to at least more relaxed pastures. I don't know if they could possibly be greener than where he's been, but this position is coming in at just the right time for us. Moving forward with our wastewater treatment plant is a priority here, and we welcome Keith to be the new leader over there. So, and thank you, Matt. He's been very busy in interviewing, as everyone can see.
Thank you. Any further discussion? And I just have to say too, Matt, well done. When we heard that we were going to have a wave of vacancies, that was a scary prospect. And for us to be appointing every vacancy for the most part, that's incredible. So hats off to you. I'll give you this pen.
So I know.
Hats off- yeah.
She's filling them this week.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-109, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to purchase a van for the water and sewer department.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-110, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to award a contract for the construction of a shared bathroom building for use by the transfer station and Blacknick Park.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
As you heard earlier, this is project's a priority for us. I mentioned it in my report. We get pretty excited about bathrooms around here. That's an area that really does need one. Obviously, the transfer station, the employees need it over there. Also, the folks who use the transfer station just to wash up and do other things. But then this new facility will be available to folks who are using the baseball fields, they're using the dog park, who are just walking through. So this was a great suggestion by someone on our team, and we're moving forward on it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-111, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of mowers for use by the town's park department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-112, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a truck for use by the town's highway department.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-113, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution for the sale of certain surplus equipment and vehicles in the highway department.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-114, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a MOA with Highway Union.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-115, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to make certain budgetary modifications.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-116, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to set the salary schedule for the confidential secretary to the supervisor.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Just briefly, I'm not sure why this wasn't completed several months ago. The only thing that we have done as a board was request some very basic information that could have been provided to the board in short order, just simply the job description and the duties of the confidential secretary. And the reason for that was so we could get comparable salaries from municipalities that surround us. It's what the town board has to do to do our duties. To date, we still have not received this information. We don't know what the exact job description is going to be. We do know that the $49,000 that's currently proposed is still going to be more than Bethlehem pays their confidential secretary, still more than Guilderland pays, still more than Rotterdam pays, more than Schenectady pays, even more than the Albany County pays their confidential secretary. However, it is much better than the initial $50,000 that was earlier proposed. And in light of that, we certainly want a confidential secretary to be hired. So I am going to vote in favor of it. Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
We have to back up because we had a second. That was the discussion portion. So, John, you said that you still haven't received a job description? For the confidential
When we
secretary?
last met, there was an issue as to the title being a confidential secretary and whether or not the confidential secretary works simply for the supervisor or whether it would also respond to the town board. That's what led to my comment about the past confidential secretary wasn't responsive to me as a town board member. I am responsive to the residents of the town, so we all work for the town residents, which is why we asked Who is this person going to be reporting to? Is it somebody that's going to be assisting town board members, or is it just somebody that's going to assist you confidentially? If they're just going to assist you confidentially and not report to the town board members, that's just something that I wanted to know as a town board member. I didn't get an answer from you since that last town board meeting. The resolution is on here again. However, I don't want to be an obstructionist. I don't think that we've ever voted no on anything that you've proposed. I might have voted no once. We want to put this behind us. I don't know why it wasn't done several months ago. But in light of all that, so we can get it done, I'm voting yes.
Well, I appreciate that once we get to the voting that you will be voting yes. However, at the last meeting, you did ask me that, and I said, and it's on the record, if we want to go back and look at the video, I reiterated that this individual will work for everyone. So to me, that was my answer to you. If you want that in writing, I can certainly furnish you with that specifically in writing. But that question was satisfactorily answered, but I appreciate your support.
That would be fine. If the
Okay.
works for everybody, that's very appreciative.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call?
I just had a question. Are you close to finding a candidate? I know you had a lot of good resumes that you shared with us, so there seemed to be some good candidates within that packet of resumes.
Yes, some of them have reiterated their interest in continuing to be considered. So given new parameters, I will be going through culling that group of people, making the determination as to whether I will move forward with reposting.
Okay, so perhaps within the next month?
Hopefully.
Okay, because I'd like to see the position filled.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-117, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint summer/fall independent contractors.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-118, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to accept CIP award grant.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Grant.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the county for the CIP grant. This is something that funds our concert series under the gazebo on Thursday evenings at Town Hall during the summer, and we look forward to another successful concert series this summer, and thanks to the county for this grant.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-119, sponsored by Councilwoman Weber. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into a lease agreement for the Lions Park train station.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Again, this is something that we do each year, and I'd like to thank Maureen Sousa for being willing to do this and be the artist in residence in Lions Park.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-120, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to renew software licensing agreement for the Comptroller's Office.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-121, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a package insurance policy for the town.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second,
Any discussion?
I just want to thank Mr. Sebesta and our broker, Marshall Sterling, for their work on this. They did save us some money this year regarding this particular policy, so that's good for the town.
Mhm. Absolutely. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-122, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing an outside user sewer agreement.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will
Second.
second. Weber can second.
Mhm.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-123, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the purchase of a vehicle for use by the town's highway department.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-124, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the purchase of a vehicle for use in the town's highway department.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-125, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to amend Resolution 2018-321.
Thank you. Can I get a second? I will second. Any discussion?
So this, just to clarify what happened here, we passed this resolution a few months ago. We had entered into an agreement with youth soccer. We negotiated out a few terms. After they reviewed it with their lawyer, they just had a couple of questions, and there were some things that we just took for granted or would go without saying, that we wouldn't terminate their contract without reason, and timing and things like that. So they raised a few questions. Paul Briggs was able to get them addressed immediately, and we're able to move forward with this.
Thank you.
Blame it on the lawyer.
Yeah, yet again.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-126, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize the supervisor to enter into an easement agreement.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-127, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing an outside user sewer agreement.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes.
5 ayes.
And this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-128, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to appoint a person to the Board of Assessment Review.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second. Lisa.
Okay. Any discussion?
I just want to thank Mr. Belcourt. I do not believe he is here, but I want to thank him for his willingness to serve. He's been involved in all things assessing and evaluating for a long time. That's what he does for a living. He came very well regarded by our assessor, who has worked with him on a number of projects over the years, and it sounds like he can really hit the ground running. So that we're lucky to have found someone.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-129, sponsored by Supervisor Syed. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a time and attendance system.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? This will go a long way into increasing our operational efficiencies here. It's a pretty, well, it's a good system. It integrates well with an existing system that we already use, which is Munis. So we won't have any issues, hopefully, with implementation. Faster we can get this online, the better. So I'm happy to see this resolution here tonight. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-130, sponsored by Councilman Delarada. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to authorize professional services for design of Upper Union Street Scape Grant.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-131, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to purchase electrical equipment for the construction of a shared bathroom building for use by the transfer station and Blatnick Park.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes. Next resolution, 2019-132, sponsored by Councilwoman McGraw. Will the clerk please read?
A resolution to purchase building materials for the construction of a shared bathroom building for use by the transfer station and Blatnick Park.
Thank you. I will second. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Delarada.
Yes.
Councilwoman McGraw.
Aye.
Councilman McPartlin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Weber.
Yes.
Supervisor Syed.
Yes,
5 ayes.
and this resolution passes.
Yep.
Okay, and we already did our ceremonial resolutions with our presentations earlier this evening, so I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn if someone would like to do so.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman McPartlin. I will second your motion. All those in favor signified by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming this evening.